Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues and friends, and our esteemed panelists, a warm welcome to this, what I think is going to be thought-provoking and dynamic session on digital space empowered by open and innovative governance. I am Veronica Kretsu, your moderator for today, and I'm absolutely delighted to be here in the beautiful city of Tallinn, a hub of innovation and digital progress. And before we dive into the conversation today on what open and innovative governance stands for, I'd like to see how many participants in the room are here for the first time. Can I see your hands up? Okay. Fantastic. A warm welcome to you, and thank you so much for the returning participants. It's really delightful to have such a wide and diverse audience. So, as we gathered here today, surrounded by, you've seen, this digital innovation and digital spirit of Tallinn and Estonia, we embark on a journey to explore the transformative power of open and innovative governance in the ever-evolving digital landscape. Our goal today is to delve into the heart of this fascinating topic and I really hope that we are going to have meaningful and insightful discussion because I'm joined by this fantastic panel. Because the panelists have been introduced, I want to just quickly mention that we are going to have only 45 minutes. I will be quite strict on the timing because the intention is to have 3 rounds of questions and interventions, and to keep us on track, I will be using these 2 cards. Yellow card is when my panelists are halfway through their interventions, and the red card when they have only 10 seconds left.
We'll try not to get 2 red cards.
Okay. Okay. So without any further ado, I would like to, because the session is anchored in the whole idea of open and innovative governance, I would like to hear from the panelists on their reflections vis-a-vis, and this is also to set the baseline and to have a common understanding. What do we really mean when we say open and innovative governance? How do your administrations define that? Because the term has been evolving, not only in the past decades, but throughout centuries. And could you also share, as part of this round of interventions, specific strategies, policy documents that are currently supporting this open government or open governance discourse? Is there anything in the pipeline, anything that you are working at the moment? We would also like to hear from you on that. So without any further ado, I would like to go to Ms. Carnahan, and the floor is yours.
Great, thank you so much. Keep that red card for a minute. Thank you all very much. It's my first time to be in Tallinn and also at the summit. I appreciate the invitation. I am the administrator of the General Services Administration in the United States. It is a very interesting organization that is in charge of lots of the back office functions of government, but in particular for this purpose, the buying of technology and the development of shared technology tools. I will tell you that my background, I come from the sort of good government, digital government space. I served as Secretary of State in one of the states in the United States, which was in charge of elections and making sure that those are accessible and free. I spent time on the board of a group called NDI, you might know. It's a civic organization that does democracy and civic participation work around the world. So I feel like I'm with my people here because it combines the things that I really am passionate about, which is governments that deliver and technology in its ability to do that. When we talk about what is open government, to me it's pretty clear that it involves transparency, participation, inclusion, and accountability. Those are all great values. I think we can probably embrace those. But the question then is, what does that get you? What it gets you is a government that delivers for people in their time of need. And I will tell you that when we talk about innovative government, it really is about delivering for people. So that's the theme that you're going to hear from me a lot today, is that democracy and government has got to deliver. Policy is important, but delivery is the thing that will make a difference in people's lives. And today, when we have so much in our lives that is digital and delightful, we expect our government to be the same. So we're doing a lot on that front. It involves a lot of sharing of tools. I hope we get into that today, is how we can learn from each other and be intentional about, as we build from the beginning, understanding that our countries and the citizen-government interaction is the same. The challenges are the same. And so we need to not reinvent the wheel all the time and figure out how we can collaborate.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much. I think this is very insightful, and I would immediately want to move to Minister Bartosz of the Czech Republic.
So thank you. This is my second time here, and I hope there'll be a future coming here again. I think this is a very important topic. This is a very important topic, so much for me. That's what made me to join politics 14 years ago. This innovative, responsible, open governance is actually the key to information society change. It started in the 70s, and that's getting to knowledge society these days. And all those principles, when on the one side is freedom for people to access the information and to actually supervise the government doing, and on the other hand, another important thing these days, and I'm very happy that European Commission and Union stress that, is a respect to privacy, to the personal life, not to be violated by government, right? But not to be violated by the entrepreneurs and private sector as well. And these combinations are actually the thing that we are putting into the legislation of individual countries, but also those are the principles of approaches we are taking. If I would like to depict four most important things, I believe, it's a transparency and open data, especially when in these hard times with disinformation scenes and the war, the trust to the government is untrust to the government, and disinformation is a weapon of the fight. So the more you are open, and Denmark, Estonia, and the other governments know that to its citizens, and the processes are open, the bigger trust you got on your citizens. On the way of delivering, in one particular part, I would be happy if the government does the thing for me, and I don't have to interact with the government, but I do have to. So the services shall be easy to use, open, and I should have a granted access to them. And I'm in my half. So the one more thing is trustworthy identification of a citizen in the system with respect to privacy on the national level. But thanks to our presidency, but many others work on that, we are going towards European identity and e-wallet, which I believe also with the cross-ocean cooperation will be important, and of course personalized approach, because we are no robots. We have to feel that we are being taken care of with respect to our needs and rights. And what's on stock? Maybe a few things. We are working on action plans, on open governance, but we do have a digital constitution, right to access the state through digital in 2025. It's quite ambitious time to do that, so we're working hard on that. Right for the citizen to be served digitally by its own government. That's in the pipeline for us.
Yes, thank you.
No red card?
Thank you. Thank you so much. Again, trust, I think, keeps coming over and over in the public discourse when we talk about the issues of open, inclusive, and good governance. Without any further ado, I would like to move to our next distinguished panelist, and I'm really proud because Minister Olaiba is from Moldova, my country of origin, and I can't be any prouder, you know, two Moldovans on the same stage. Minister, over to you.
Thank you very much, Veronica, and well, first of all, great to see you and great to be here. It's my first time in Tallinn without my family, because I have we're a 50-50 Moldovan-Estonian family, and they're all very jealous in Chisinau, staying and probably you know, talking about it right now. But about open and innovative government, the way we see it is, of course, it's about transparency. Of course, it's about inclusiveness. It's about a more responsible government, and a government, first of all, that respects its citizens. You know, we have a certain history, recent history, where Moldova was only a few years ago on the brink of becoming a failed state and an authoritarian regime. we saved our democracy, and we saved it because of the tools we were using, because of the methods that we used from the opposition and now from the government to communicate with and to include our people, our citizens in the process of decision making, of advocacy and so on. And now being in government, I would say, well, first of all, the way we see it is that what we want to show and what we want to say is that you don't have to be a developed country, because Moldova is still a low to middle income country. You don't have to be a developed country to be ready to embrace digital inclusion, to be ready to go full digital, and to be ready to use the e-democracy opportunities and platforms in order to include your citizens in the process of decision making, because innovation means preparing your citizens and your country for the day of tomorrow. At the same time, the great opportunity that opens from this is exactly to completely change the way your citizen sees the government and the way your citizens is served by the government and the way the government is communicating with the people. And for that, of course, besides the vision, we have also a newly elaborated digital transformation strategy up till 2030 that is actually to be approved by the government tomorrow. So we're looking forward to pushing ahead for the change, because it's only normal.
Thank you, Minister. And I think it's really fascinating the way you mentioned about the fact that it's open government tools and practices that helped us save democracy, when we were at the highest risk of losing that. So thank you so much. And I would like to move to Minister Czyżyński of Poland. How does Poland regard open and innovative governance, and what's in the pipeline for Poland?
First of all, it was kind of troubling to hear that it is innovative to actually deliver as a government. But I think managing expectations. That is this is what politics is all about. So for me, open government means two things. First of all, is to be open and listen, and ask everyone, hey, how do you want to shape your country? And there's no better way to do this than through using technology. And it's the best way, and I think for the upcoming years, it's the only way. And we have to learn and embrace this. We have been doing this a lot in Poland. Every e-service we launch, we prototype, and we work with actual users. We go to universities, we go to focus groups, we show them, hey, it's going to look like this. How do you like it? What would you fix? And they have a lot of things they want to fix. And also, I don't know if you know this quote from Otto von Bismarck, that people should not know how sausage and politics is done. So for me, open government is like, hey, we're going to show you the inside of your sausage. And you pay for this as taxpayers, and we have to do it. This is our responsibility as politicians. And open government in this way, it is very good because it's more transparent, it's closer to the people, it makes room for citizens, for NGOs to control what we're doing and whether we're going the right way. And it's always good if you have that. And innovative, I think you just have to go off the beaten path, and tech is a great place to do this in government. And I think, to make a metaphor comparison to a car, I don't think the government should be the driving wheel. I think we should be the gearbox. We should give people and businesses the possibility to have what they want ×5, ×10. And this is the power that we are given by the people, and this is how we should use it. And there are so many great examples throughout the world. And I'm in Tallinn for the third time. First time I came hitchhiking 1,000 kilometers from Warsaw. This is my second time on the summit, and I'm here to listen and learn and bring back new ideas to Poland. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. And it's interesting the way you highlight, the value of prototyping, and this allows for creating an enabling space for people to learn and understand what works and what doesn't work. So the more we keep doing that, the more chances we have to succeed. And with this, I want to move to our panelist, Mr. Olsen, who is representing the private sector. Thank you for joining us. And how does private sector regard open and innovative governance?
Thanks for having me, first of all. And this is my third time, I think, in Tallinn, all of them on purpose, so I'm happy about that. Open governance, open government to me is, and to us, is around transparency, it's around responsibility, and it's around collaboration. We've mentioned all of those words previously, and the Prime Minister opened as well with words very much related to this. Transparency, when it comes to government, is a challenging thing, isn't it? Because there are certain things, and I'm old enough, I worked with the defense and government prior to joining Palo Alto Networks, so I know that when we talk about like military intelligence and the knowledge, there are certain things that you can't share with the general public and all of that. But the processes and the way we interact with the public, that is something we need more and more transparency on. And I think it was already mentioned, Denmark and Estonia is definitely doing this. I'm originating out of Denmark, so absolutely I feel it every day. But there's more to it than that, right? There should also be transparency in the collaboration space, how we work with the different other governments that we work with, how we work with different organizations, and how we do data sharing, for instance. That definitely requires an input as well, right? It's part of the reasons why I would encourage everybody who's in the technology space as well to have full transparency reports published, right? We've done that since last year as well, not just based on request, but because we are a global cybersecurity leader, that comes with a responsibility. We know a lot of things based on the telemetry and the data points that we have out there. That requires full transparency as well. And we would encourage governments to take that same approach as well. What data points are you looking at, and what is the impact of those data points? How are those data points protected? What does it mean for the average citizen as well? And there was one word, and I noticed the sign, I'll make it very short. One word is integrations. The future bears digital integrations for any government. That requires transparency and openness as well. What are you integrating, for what purpose, how, and how do you secure it? Thank you.
Thank you so much. And because you mentioned transparency, I recall, in the OGP space, I'm an envoy to the Open Government Partnership, and for years we were looking at the extent to which we can go for radical transparency. And there was so much talk about how painful that can be for certain audiences out there. But thank you so much for your insights. And just to sum up on this first round of interventions, and for the audience in the room, the term itself, open and innovative governance, has been in the space for centuries. It takes us back to the ancient Athens, to the Magna Carta of England. The past 3 or 4 decades have been characterized by an emergence of institutions, governments doing more and more work around open and innovative governance. It has always, it has served as an alternative to freedom of information, access to information, and the development of open governance, as you exactly pointed out, seeks to enhance transparency, accountability, citizen participation in the functioning of public institutions. It underscores, and you have all highlighted, our collective commitment to building, at the end of the day, a digital space which is bringing together government institutions which are not only responsive to the engaging citizens, but also foster a culture of openness, transparency, and everything is anchored in this notion of trust and accountability. Thank you so much. The second round of today's panel, and we will have a little bit. You'll have one more, so you'll have 3 minutes for the second round. It's about the going into the practice. understanding what is really happening across different thematic areas, but also what are the main challenges that you are facing in the implementation. And I will start from Administrator Carnahan. I have a number of questions, and feel free to pick on any that you feel like addressing. Talking about the United States, how is the United States adapting its governance approach in response to these changing dynamics which are brought up by data-enabled technologies? How does the US envision to stay as a leader in the digital age, while at the same time ensuring that openness and agility is at the core of the modus operandi? And how is the government working with industry platforms to provide services? And because in this round of intervention, we'd like to hear more about the challenges, please share with us, what are the top challenges that you are facing?
3 minutes.
3 minutes. I know it's tough.
Look, I want to go back to the fact that we all face the same challenges. So I think that these are not things only in the United States. I think across the board in democratic societies, we're addressing all of these things. For us, it really is about creating partnerships. Partnerships with our colleagues around the country and the world, partnerships through agencies in the government, and partnerships with academia and industry. That is not always a normal thing in government. Mm-hmm. Things tend to be pretty siloed. I don't know if y'all ever experienced that. But breaking down those silos, figuring out how to share data, how to have policies that are integrated so that we can speak with one voice when we're going to the industry is really important. It's hard because it's not how budgets are put together, and it's not how humans naturally interact. But when it comes to these technology and digital government tools, it's the only way to make it work. We have to have everyone at the table. We have to have NGOs at the table. We have to have industry at the table, and we have to have our government partners at the table. So having that kind of collaborative conversation is really, really important. I want to just touch on for a minute, you asked about things we're doing. We really are trying to not have to reinvent the wheel all the time. Whether that's one agency to the next, whether it's states and federal and city, whether it's working with our colleagues around the world. One good example of that is the Notify system, and that is a text notification service that agencies could use. And our team at GSA basically looked to the UK and to Canada, who developed these models. They intentionally put them out there in ways that they could be reused and shared. And so we've adopted that, and it's sped up the process for us and saved a lot of money. An example of where we are doing things that are open source and available for others is something called the US Web Design Standards, which is this fantastic tool that provides easy accessibility and meets all accessibility and compliance requirements of the government. And it's used now by 90-some agencies and 1 billion page views a month, and it's free. Y'all can use it if you want. But it is a way that we can be intentional in the beginning about sharing and reuse and not reinventing the wheel. So that's the challenge. Mm-hmm. That's not things normally people want to do, but if we're intentional about it, it can save time, save money, and provide better service for our people.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So, and you mentioned the partnerships and collaboration. I think we are still far from, doing it in the right way. So partnerships, literacy, collaboration, and learning how to collaborate is really essential if we want to.
Just sharing best practices. We all have the same challenges. Just we need to share.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I would like to move to Czech Republic. Minister, Czech Republic ranks 19th of the 27 EU member countries in the 2022 edition of the Digital Economy and Society Index. Your country's strongest performance is in the human capital dimension. And we often talk about the importance of human capital for the ever-changing landscape. My question is how the government has been leveraging this human capital advantage that you have to enhance the nation's approach to open and innovative governance, and how is the government using this strength to improve the country's overall digital governance performance? And what are your main challenges?
Okay, it's a tough question, but one thing that was mentioned here is, even though we do have a technology, we do have a legislation, regulation, it's always about the people, not as a users and educated users that can orient themselves in the weird, for many of them weird, internet ecosystem, but it's also on the power of the government and its institutions. So if we are talking about, we have to upskill people of different ages, even 18 years old kids, they don't have sufficient skills. We are talking on one side regular citizens. Business is quite okay, but you also need experts, right? And the government does not have often experts at all. So it's 2030 that we got the same goals for digital decade, which is significant upskill of entire European population, not only to survive, but also to actually address the challenges. The work market needs would be completely different in 10 years. And obviously, we would have wonderful technology, but very little people that can operate them, which first can lead to digital poverty, but then second, it can lead to somebody's advantage because he's got the knowledge to control AI, to run whatever quantum computing principles. So this is a tough question. There are several programs on a European level, but also on the national level. And on the side of the government, and that's important thing if we talk about the cooperation, and one of the goals that I do have, but we learn in the COVID and because of war, in many cases, collaboration is much better than the competition. But this ecosystem requires that all players play with open hands. Business wants money and stable legislation. We want to, on one hand, win election to propose our politics and do the things, but every stakeholder is a participant of the system. And we have to be equal on what we know, what we expect, what we maybe deserve. In many cases, there are many wounds, historical, to be healed. Of licensing systems and contracts that you can never kill when you are in charge of a ministry to start something new. And the approach that we are taking right now on a European level is actually to sit in the table, reveal what's on stock, what we want to achieve together, and find a new balance of rather collaboration than concurrence or abusing that you know more than the one who orders a service. But this digital upskill is the key to success, is the key to resilience, because our competence to actually execute our democratic rights is basically based on we understand the 21st century world, which is basically almost digital only. So this is the importance. So spending money on massive upscale of all the society. Librarians are helping to us as a connection to people who are older than us. Schools, curriculums, everything must to be moved to that because that's what be expected of us in 10 years.
Thank you, Minister. Just yesterday we had a side event on data governance and AI, and human capital capacity building has been brought over and over in the conversation, and the need, because you mentioned the upskilling, how we do the upskilling, how efficient we are in the upskilling is another very, very important question.
May I react?
Yes.
Still many people think it's like through learning, right? But it's not the way. It has to be in the curriculum, in any subject, in any matter. We are still learning in a school how to fulfill a form for the paycheck, right? That's not the thing that you will do when you're an adult. So starting from the very early, and it has to be intensive, but also, again, user-friendly. It's not about clicking e-learning course and say, we are done with that. We had millions of participants of that. It won't bring the change.
Yes, having this infused approach and spreading it across the spectrum is what I hear you say. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'd like to move to my country of origin, Moldova. In the light of the refugee and energy crisis stemming from brutal Russia's war in Ukraine, Minister, could you share with us how has Moldova leveraged open governance principles, including any digital solutions or digital government approaches to effectively address the challenges and promote accountability during these very complicated times of crisis? And how has the Moldovan government used data to inform policies, decisions, and provide rapid assistance? What are the main challenges that are currently being faced?
Well, I'll just start with reminding everyone that Moldova, alongside Poland, were, let's say, the main destinations, perhaps the only direct destinations for the wave of refugees that were coming from Ukraine. Especially in the peak, in the beginning of the war, and at the peak of the wave, Moldova had the biggest per capita refugees on the territory of Moldova. Of course, some of them moved on, but altogether we had over 500,000 people that we gave harbor to have some calm, to have a breather. Some of them moved on, some of them still stay in the country. And what I saw and what we all saw makes me really, and I'll just say it straightforward, really proud of my people and my country. I never was this proud to see such an unprecedented mobilization of interest groups, of bubbles of the society that would otherwise despise each other. I mean, you had police, border police working side by side with, let's say, anti-system groups that we all have in our societies, and we had people who would go to pride marches working side by side with the church at the same border crossings, and you had a restaurant owner who transformed their restaurant in a refugee center, in an information center, and you had guys who sell beer that brought the cans of water, because there was the border crossing, the most requested border crossing doesn't have too much infrastructure and tents and so on and so on. So it was really, and again, you had big business, small business, everyone chipped in, and of course the role of the government was to coordinate this massive effort, because sometimes people would just drive to the border and wait for someone to catch a ride to the capital or to further on, maybe some relatives or friends, because we are also very interconnected. So of course information was key. And GSM companies opened booths at the border and giving away prepaid SIM cards in order for people to stay connected, and they dropped the roaming charges for Ukrainians in order to keep them connected. And within just a couple of days we had a very, you could say, rudimentary website at the beginning that kept on evolving. And it proved crucial, because it became the most important source of information and source of connecting of Ukrainians with those who need help on transportation, on healthcare, on anything, on accommodation. They could find each other, demand and offer on the website Dopomoga, which is help from Ukrainian, Dopomoga Gov.md. So this is the least we could do. Of course, it was about keeping them informed. It was about keeping our people informed, how they can help, how they can get involved, because there was really a lot of willingness to help. And in order to have as much efficiency as possible, coordination was very important. And I'm happy to say we handled something that none of us was ready for.
Thank you, Minister. And I would just like to add that as someone in the diaspora, for us, data that was available on the side of the government was key, because it allowed us to also identify the most needed areas for support. So this way, we also avoided duplication of efforts or sending in support, which was already there. So thank you so much. And Before we go to Minister Chrzynski, I know, and I would like to ask the technical team, I know that we have a short video, and then we go to you, Minister. Let's see if... Yeah? Yeah, sorry. Thank you, and thank you so much for sharing about this initiative. Minister, we are really eager to learn more about the M-Citizen initiative that your government is implementing, which introduces a digital wallet for documents and offers a wide range of functions to empower Polish citizens. Could you elaborate, please, on how this platform has transformed everyday life of your citizens and businesses since it was launched? And alongside your successes, share please with us, what are your main challenges?
Of course, thank you very much. So you were able to see a short clip about what M-Citizen or M-Obywatel, how it's said in Polish, is. It's our new government app. We launched it just on July 14th. And by launching it, we became the biggest EU country with a fully acceptable mobile document. One of my team members realized that he came to Estonia on just his driver's license. So we're going to see if M-Citizen works in Estonia, or he'll just stay here. One thing I want to refer to what my predecessor said. When over 1 million Ukrainian refugees came to Poland within the first month after the full-scale invasion, we introduced, after 3 weeks from February 24th, a way to get a Polish digital ID for every Ukrainian refugee that came to Poland. We issued almost 1 million within the first month, which actually only after we did that, we found out that in every refugee crisis, identity is one of the key problems. But we didn't know about it when we thought of it, but we just solved the problem. So we were happy to hear about this. And few lessons from what we did. First of all, manage expectations. I see a few hundred people here in the room. How many of you have a great idea for a feature that should be in your government app?
All of us.
Everyone. And I'm 100% sure that you all think that your idea is simple to execute. You can basically deliver it tomorrow. And I mean, your government, if it doesn't deliver it, then it's just really bad at IT. So managing expectations, key to having this aura of success around your project. If you don't have that, you won't have the resources and you won't have the team. Because resources in government, we have some people from the government here, so we know we always have to fight with the finance minister, with other ministers for money. But the second thing is team. And for the team, we don't fight with our colleagues in the government, because in digital ministries, we always have the best team in the government, but we have to fight with the outside world for experts, for specialists. Like Ivan said, you have to have experts in the government. And it's super hard to get them on board. Second thing, introduce design process. This is something which is totally new to many government institutions, because you have a bill, it's printed in your official journal or whatever, and then you have to turn it into an app. And for many, many years in Poland, they would just take what was in the legislation and just try to put in the app however they thought it was suitable. Now we spend hundreds of hours with our citizens, with our entrepreneurs, with people that work inside the government, so we make the app really good. I've been red carded, sorry. So just 2 more things. Build the community, be where the IT crowd is, so it's better to source ideas and people that way. And last thing, be active in communication. Show numbers, be open about your mistakes, speak simple language, make use of the fact that people, at least in Poland, they love digital. And the hardest thing is, try to be cool, but not too hard. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Minister. And thank you for highlighting this clear language thing. Because in the open government space, we've been, trying to identify ways in which we can have ambitious commitments as part of the national action plans that would foresee this element of clear language so that governments can easier engage in conversations and communication with citizens from across the spectrum. Thank you so much. And with this, I would like to move to Mr. Olsen. From your private sector perspective, and I will go into the issue of AI, I think these days no conversation around digital can go on without artificial intelligence. How do you see AI transforming governance and public services for governments and citizens? And also considering your private sector perspective, how is AI influencing business strategies, operations, and interactions with governments and citizens? What are some key AI-driven initiatives or technologies that corporations are implementing to enhance their services and engage with government entities and citizens in a more innovative ways? And if you could share with us also the key challenges that are being faced today, we would highly appreciate that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So first of all, I want to say that and relating to my predecessors on the panel as well, their comments, education is vital, right? I mean, any national government that is not focusing on having digital on the school's agenda from a very early age, they're falling behind as we speak, right? So that should be high on the agenda. Second is, when we talk about clear communication, interpretation is the enemy of consistency, right? So if you leave it up for interpretation and it's up to the individual organization, it becomes the enemy of consistency for you and your policies as well. So make sure that it's very clear language when you do the guidance and the best practices as well. So when it comes to AI, I'm going to use, I'm from the cybersecurity industry. We cannot talk without mentioning AI. AI is the new digital from a word perspective. Is it going to transform the way we live and the way we operate? No, it's already done that. We just didn't realize it. It happened already. We've been doing AI for so long. We've been aggregating data for so long, and we've been applying new machine learning models, new data models, and everything towards this. We just haven't gone out and said AI, AI, AI yet, but we're doing that now, right? So it's already transformed the way you live and operate. And that is back to the challenges, right? There are two primary challenges. One was education. The second one is speed. The pace of change is going to outpace your abilities as government to act. It's that simple. Right? It's going to outpace you. It's going to outpace most of organizations as well when we look at two primary scenarios. The threat that will come from the leveraging AI, but also the mentioning of AI, right? We've heard previous speakers, also yesterday at the reception, it was mentioned that AI might not be the driver behind cyber criminal activities right now, but it's definitely an enabler, and we see more and more of this. The more we see AI as a business opportunity, as an integration opportunity for our shared collaboration in the government space, the more we will see threat actors leveraging this. This requires a new approach. I'll compare this in a sinister way, I would call it, a very bad way, right? Look at how we deal with natural disasters. Every organ in a government comes together to support whatever impact that natural disaster has. Why can't we do the same with a cyber incident? Why do we still face the silos? So a lot of cybersecurity organizations will come out, and a lot of private organizations will come out and share the learnings after a cyber incident, right? Come have a chat. I'll share what you shouldn't learn during an incident instead, right? That's a different approach. We have to change our mindset. We have to educate, and we have to understand that we've been outpaced already.
Thank you. Thank you. I think this is extremely valuable point, the speed. And the speed is so much dependent on our capacity to do foresight, to have strategic and visionary thinking. And I think it takes us back to the human capital and capacity building, and how do we embed that in a way that we are not lagging behind. Thank you so much for highlighting the speed aspect. From the challenges, dear participants and panelists, I would like to take us to the last round of interventions, and it's more about future or forward-looking. And I would like to go back to the United States, Ms. Carnahan. Looking ahead, how do you see, again, to the topic of artificial intelligence, how do you see AI, data-enabled governance, and open principles shaping the global digital landscape? What transformative innovations can we expect from the US government in the upcoming future?
Great question. We've spoken a lot about AI. Look, there's no doubt that it's going to take all of us to be at the table to have these conversations, because lots of our values that we talk about are going to have to be balanced, right? We care about innovation. We care about privacy. We care about economic value. We care about transparency. We care about inclusiveness. We care about bias. We care about these things, and yet all of it is in the mix when it comes to AI. So there are lots of challenges. The Biden administration is taking it very seriously. They're moving forward with an executive order to talk about AI. They're talking about guardrails for industry so that they know what the rules of the game ought to be. They're having lots of conversations about voluntary limits that industry is taking on, because the government doesn't always move quickly. And we've also, on the other side of things, been asking about the use of large language models in the government already. And just last year, we had examples of over 1,100 tests and use cases that are going on, and it really runs the gamut. Things like hurricane modeling from the Department of Commerce so that they can have better predictive models. Things at the Department of Health and Human Services that have to do with, potential limits on drug supply, because they're able to aggregate this data and see what's going on. Also, obviously, around biomedical research, some really, really interesting things. How we can use transportation data to have better transportation and public safety. So really, really interesting use cases. And so the key there is, I think, going to be trying to aggregate and get learnings from that, but then be really clear about letting people know, being transparent about the algorithmic transparency of all of this, as well as having some accountability about how it's being used.
Thank you. Thank you, Administrator. Thank you. And from the United States, because I'm mindful of the time, we go to the Czech Republic Minister. How can Czech Republic leverage strengths for global digital innovation and governance excellence, and what transformative innovations are lying ahead for your country?
In the previous part, you mentioned the DESI index and about the 19th position of the Czech Republic, yes, which is a combination of many aspects. Excellent. If I take it to the ground and see different domains, Czech Republic as a country has got few advantages in few fields. One of them, for example, but it doesn't even seem from the global level, is pretty tough infrastructure, the critical infrastructure overall. Another thing is also the universities as a part of the ecosystem where all the innovation hubs are being held. And you can go like from maybe the innovation and the startup ecosystem, but again, it's not anymore on the national level. Right? When we are talking quantum, and I'm happy that we are working on our quantum strategy, it's a worldwide thing. It's participation on a European solution, because we cannot have a quantum computer in every single country, as well as when we talk about the power computing and supercomputers, we are always talking it's a network. And I believe this networking thing of an EU project and cross-Atlantic projects, because many of them companies who are providing infrastructure are US-based, is a key to that. And there is one thing, and I believe we are not, in many cases, we are not competing anymore, because you just cannot have an excellence in everything. But you, for example, have an institution that's significant for entire European Union. We've got in Prague USPA, European Agency for Space. So this is a nice place to actually run that specific expertise. While, for example, and don't be mistaken, could be Poland as a cybersecurity hub because of many cases that they did, not only during the war. And one of them things I want to stress out, and I had the chance to travel around the world, on a European level, where we are pretty good in identity of a person within the ecosystem, which any decision you want to make, you have to know as a government, business already knows that from Facebook and gathering all the data, who your citizen is, you know, what trouble he has, where he lives, to actually manage the crisis, be resilient when something happens. And even champions in Asia, they've got this individual problem, like we do not know where our citizen lives. And maybe one more thing, and I'm techno-optimist, cyber hippie guy, but we have to also mention sustainability. If we boost too much, right, it could be a danger, especially computing power, uses of energy. So I'm very happy, as we talk always of sustainability, even the green aspect is right now going through the technology of a power usage, of reusability of the components, you know, because there is not that much things in the ground anymore for future development of a technology. So sustainability is one aspect that we have to have in mind because it touches tech and digital as well.
Thank you so much. And because I'm, again, as I said, mindful of the time, without any further ado, going to Moldova. And, you know, in a forward-looking perspective, considering Moldova's EU candidacy status and the ongoing e-governance efforts, how can open governance, collaboration and innovation benefit all segments of society? And Minister, if you could share what transformative innovations are on the horizon for Moldova.
Thank you. Well, I'll just, you know, no sugarcoating here. Of course, we still have our problems. On the path to EU accession, there are still systemic problems that we have to solve, and we see open government, digitalization as a tool and as an enabler of, let's say, jumping a few steps faster. And I mean corruption, for example. I mean more transparency and more freedom to the press and those who keep the government accountable. This is a tremendous power that can be harnessed from open government, from transparency, from the use of digital tools. Businesses have to be and to feel more protected and to be able to solve their problems faster while not being forced to pay bribe. Yes, we are at a 10-year low in Transparency International's corruption perception index, but there's still a long way to go until top 10 will get there, and we'll use digital transformation tools to get there. There is a number that I'm tracking personally, well, every week, I could say, and that's the progress of digital public services that are online. Right now, Moldova, well, last month we had 43. At the beginning of the summer, we had 42%. Right now, we have 44% of public services for entrepreneurs that are digital, that are available in digital form. And this is, well, I could say we are a regional leader in this sense. Well, next year we'll have 75%, and we're getting to 100% because guess what? If Estonia did it, then we can do it as well, and we don't have, again, to be a super developed country to achieve that. Something that is coming, and we're really looking forward, is similar to the Ukrainian DIA, our government super app Evo. We have the support of USAID here. We're looking forward to the first version to be up and running already this autumn. And the vision here again is all government services in one place, in one app, not with, in corridors with counters of grumpy civil servants, but, at 2 clicks and you've solved your issue that you have to get, because again, the government is there to serve the people, and we should see our people as customers, and the customer has to be happy, and we have to do everything that we can in order to keep the customer happy, because that means trust, then that means this convergence, because we need to be closer to each other, and sometimes you have this divide, you have this mistrust, and we use these tools to to bridge this gap that is inevitable, unfortunately.
Thank you, thank you. I think it's very inspiring, both for the citizens back home and those of us in the diaspora. So best of luck with all those efforts. I would like to go to Minister Czarzynski, considering the specific needs. Where do AI and digital advancements lead Poland's governance? And what transformative innovations can we anticipate from Poland in moving forward?
So I think when it comes to AI and transformative innovations, I think the biggest challenge that lies before Poland is actually becoming at least regional leader in this area. We have the capacity, we have great engineers in just the absolute numbers. We have the manpower to do it. We have the talent because we score very well on international tests regarding math skills, things which are necessary to nurture AI talents. And this is something which has been in the center of our policy. And from this academic year, all 4th grade students in Poland will receive a laptop when they go to the school, and they will use it for the rest of their education in primary school. And this was a big program. We want to make the educational sector a lot more digital than it was. So we are sure that when those young people, they enter the job market, they will be ready for the challenges that await them. I think that this is the #1 priority because, I mean, we can develop all the e-services we want, but if we don't develop the people that will then fuel the economy, then this will not be a sustainable effort. We will not be able to grow as we have grown for the last 3 decades. Poland went from 30% of average European GDP per capita to almost 80% at this moment in the last 30 years. But these advantages that we had, mainly low labor cost, they are not there anymore. Poles want to earn more, they have bigger ambitions. So now we have to embrace the new tech, which will enable us to have better businesses, more innovative products that we can export to the rest of the world and bring the wealth back to our country and have high-paid jobs there. And if anyone has an idea how to do this without AI and things which evolve around it, then just please, I'll be here for a few more hours. I'm glad to hear, but I think this is the way forward at the moment. And also mentioning cooperation, we started a quantum hub in Poznań, and we have invited our colleagues from Lithuania to join because it's some service by IBM, and we had extra computing power, and he said, hey, just come and join us. And we want all countries from our region to come to Poland and use the capacity that we have spent money on, because I think we should cooperate more and more, and it will be to the benefit of all. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Minister. And very quickly going to the private sector. Mr. Olsen, looking ahead, how does the private sector catalyze innovation and collaboration in the public sector's digital journey? And what legacy can private sector build for open and innovative governance?
Thank you. Yeah, so first of all, we in the private industry, we were going to continue the heavy investments, heavy investments in the technology, of course, and in the best practices that follows by the use of technology. And when I say investments in technology, it's not just to offer new capabilities based on market needs and everything. This is about, and tying it back to the educational piece as well, closing the gap between people and technology. making it easier to operate, making it easier to run for everybody with clear recommendations. Again, back to the statement about interpretation is the enemy of consistency, right? In cybersecurity and technology in general, consistency is key. Reusing what already works, sharing those best practices is part of our investment plans as well. Then we are going to continue to dive into, and we see more and more of our colleagues in the market, in technology in general, are focused on building the trusted relationship with governments, with private sectors, with critical infrastructure as well. They present the needs to us, and we invest in fulfilling those needs and providing those capabilities. But that's a partnership as well, right? Thank you. So as I said, it's about bringing people and tech closer. We will invest heavily into the use of artificial intelligence, or let's call it augmented intelligence as well, making the requirements not just of a skill set, but the amount of people that you need to operate your business digitally and securely less. I think that's going to be the statement here. I will encourage one thing is share the path to impact and not just the results of an impact, right? So when something happens, and I've had history with the organization called Maersk. A lot of people probably know that. They shared a lot about how NotPetya impacted the organization. And that changed the industry, both in logistics, in oil and gas, and in many other industries as well. That openness and that sharing changed the approach in a lot of industries. I encourage governments to do the same. Share the path to the impact, what decisions led to it, and what were the outcome of it. And of course, grow your partnership with the private industry. We're here to help.
Thank you, thank you. And on this note, yes, thank you very much for this, insightful and inspiring call for, more proactive collaboration and engagement. Unfortunately, dear participants, we don't have a, traditional Q&A session, but please feel free to approach any of the panelists during the coffee breaks. And with this, ladies and gentlemen, as we conclude this session, it's evident that open and innovative governance is not a static concept, but it is an ever-evolving journey for all of us. It's about harnessing, as you pointed out, the power of technology, fostering collaboration, keeping the principles of openness, transparency, inclusiveness, and accountability, and of course, trust at the forefront of our joint efforts. I would like to express my gratitude to the fantastic panel that I had today for your invaluable contributions, your great insights, and shedding light on the path ahead of us. Together, governments, citizens, and corporations have the opportunity to shape a future where digital space is truly empowered by open and innovative governance. Thank you all for joining us today, and may our shared vision for a more open and inclusive digital world guide our actions day by day, hour by hour, minute by minute. I wish everyone a fantastic summit, great discussions, and it was lovely to be with you here today, this morning. Thank you.